The mix of culture goes beyond the centuries-long connections between Syria and Britain. Ibtisam al-Nasari is a painter who has lived with husband and family in London for 20 years. Her interest in the Arab presence in Spain, dating from the 8th century, was kindled along a path first undertaken when she decided that painting was more than simply an interest for her. It had become a passion which needed direction. She found that direction in the inspiration of the architecture of Britain and the opportunities offered by education.
When I came here and I saw all these museums, all this art, all this beautiful architecture, and something really encouraged me to take it more serious. And what was the best, I have to mention that the availability of having tutoring. Everything was available for me because it was a hobby to me, but I want to transfer it technically to know exactly what the right way to do if I want to exhibit. And the sky was the limit.
From a different generation is Shaza Shanath. She was born in Britain and has worked for the British Council, first in Syria and now in London for 11 years.
I think there was a generation of professionals in Syria that were educated in Britain, and that's where the link had started, and my dad was one of them. He did his PhD in Britain, and that's where the link started. And all the people in his generation, or an older generation as well, that studied in Britain, you'd notice that all their kids have actually continued their education, or part of their education in Britain. They've always had that link of coming back to Britain.
The British Syrian Association is based within the Middle East Association in central London. It concentrates on encouraging the business links that have flourished for many years between the two countries. London in particular has proved a perennially popular destination for Syrians.
It is a kind of halfway house. Many Syrians went in the past, in the early part of the last century, traveled all the way to America, and there's a thriving Syrian community in Latin America, for example, and in North America, in Brazil and Argentina. But they were so far geographically removed from home that perhaps they took on, the aspects of becoming Argentinians and Brazilians and so forth, maintaining some kind of affinity, yes, but not as strong perhaps. But here in London, it applies, I suppose, to other communities as well. You're in close touch with home.
Ibtisam al-Nasari's work has undergone changes. Initially, she was drawn to portraying people, then turned more to objects as symbols of various societies. It was when she went to Spain, visiting the great Arab sites in Granada, such as the Alhambra, that she found a fresh vocation. This was in the wake of the attack on the Twin Towers in New York in September 2001.
I had a tour of the Andalus with another two artists, and we came back with a beautiful artwork. And the reason for that, this diversion, that we were asked to exhibit about Islamic art in London, in one of the universities. And it was after 9/11. And we thought maybe it's our duty to show that Muslims, Arab, could project something cultural, something peaceful, something beautiful.
A fascination for windows and doors marks much of her recent work. They include a favourite Syrian motif of the mirror reflecting a room's interior. The interest in a household object which may both open and close has a deep meaning for her.
To start with, I'm interested in architects in general. I love architects. But at the same time, maybe because I'm a woman, and for women it's not easy to do whatever you want, to say whatever you think. So there is always possibility of door and windows in everybody's life. You can either shut it down and you disappear behind it, or open it and then You see the whole world, you are exposed to everywhere. And through doors, you go places. At a certain time, I was interested in stairs because you can climb somewhere.
Initially working for the British Council on projects linked to Syria, Shaza Shannon has spread her wings. She's also involved in setting up a group to help young Syrian women coming to Britain for work or study.
There are more and more young professional Syrian women coming to the UK first, either to study or work, or study and work together. And there's an increasing number of those. And we thought, it's a great achievement to do that as a Syrian woman, and it'll be very good to share this with people with similar experiences.
Having gained an MBA, a Master's in Business Administration, she wants to put those particular skills to use.
I quite like living in London and working in London because it's a great city. There are huge opportunities. I've been, as I said, with the British Council for 11 years. My first ever job was with the British Council. So I feel now it's given me a great foundation, but it's time to move on now, especially with once I finish my master's degree, it'll create more opportunities for me. And now skilled with the professional specialist skills that I've gained through working for the British Council, I'd like to do things that will contribute more and create more opportunity to help Syria and the wider Middle East.
There may seem no connection between young Syrians coming to London for work or study and the windswept and decidedly chilly weather around Hadrian's Wall in the north of England. But this outpost of the Roman Empire, built in the 2nd century AD, shows how long ago Syrians first set foot in Britain. For the Romans recruited troops from the Middle East, including Syria.
I went to visit Hadrian's Wall, and lo and behold, the spot I was on, it just happened, I was reading about it, was a part of a fort which was manned by Syrian archers, would you believe, 2,000 years ago. At this very position I was at, there was a little museum, and where they had a corner for these Syrian archers, and they had some artifacts. And one of the things I noticed was a poem written by the commander of this unit, who was saying, besides the same thing, I've come from the land of the sun, and look, I'm now here. I mean, it must have seemed like the end of the world for them at that time. And the conditions must have been very rough for somebody coming from central Syria in that age.
It's an historical link to bring a smile to the face, but present-day Syrians in Britain are also playing their part to dispel notions of cultures in conflict.
I think people, when they actually mix together like we are doing and come to understand that a lot of the life that they're trying to lead is similar to the life that others are trying to lead, and that they share in a common destiny, a common future, then they would come, a lot of them would come to realize that some of these notions that I'm afraid have become much more prominent today and vociferous, if you like, are really not a true expression of what we can do together and how we can really mix together well and both benefit.
Bringing together rather than setting apart is a philosophy that Syrians in Britain seem to be following and enjoying the benefits of this duality of culture.